The big beautiful bill just passed. It's terrible for the poor people, it's terrible for debt, but it's amazing for stocks and risk on assets. Now, this interview between Senator Ron Johnson, and Tucker Carlson explains exactly what the problem of this big beautiful bill is. By the way, this is my short.
Projecting deficits for the next 10 years of a minimum of $2.2 trillion. And I would argue that is a rosy scenario. And particularly when you take a look at what they've done with the one big beautiful bill, they're not seriously reducing spending to what I've been calling for as a pre-pandemic level. I just want to put this in perspective. President Obama, over the course of his 8 years, his average deficit was $910 billion. CBO is projecting, and again, a rosy scenario, that we'll be averaging $2.2 trillion over the next 10 years. So we'll take our debt from $37 trillion up to $59 trillion. And if we extend the current tax law, take away $4 trillion in revenue, roughly, that add another $4 trillion. The spending cuts they're talking about, they're paltry. 1.5 trillion. Some of those are fake. Some of those are extended way out. They're offset by
out?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. I mean, we'll spend the money up front for the border, for defense. So that also takes away from that 1.5 trillion in spending. So at most, we're maybe cutting spending 1.2 trillion.
So what you're saying, like the numbers you're describing are like the bottom line numbers. This is not like higher math. This should be obvious to everybody. What's the reaction been?
Well, they just ignore it.
Now we know that the debt is going to go absolutely crazy. This is terrible for the market. But at the same time, because of this debt, there is massive devaluation happening in the US dollar. This is another way in which the government of the USA is going to be inflating out this debt. But it's terrible for the market because it makes not only the dollar worth less, everything becomes more expensive, and also the amount of income that the people can hold in their accounts disappears. See, what's going on is that in the bill, they're cutting key areas of help to the poor people. Anyone underneath $1 million is going to be far, far worse than they were under this bill. Another way to describe devaluation is that what was once worth $1, by the time the end of the year happens, due to the inflationary effect of devaluation, it's going to be worth 70 cents, 50 cents, 40 cents. So that an increase in wages are not going up. And at the same time, they're cutting key factors for the poor that need those things to survive. Their incomes are down. And on top of that, there is tariffs that are making things more expensive. It means that the poor are going to get extremely poorer, and the debt is going to go out of crazy whack. Now, those are the bad, terrible things. But as Senator said, that they're kicking the can down the road. So the debt right now is not that much of an issue. It will be an issue in the future once and if we get to those $56 trillion numbers. These numbers are insane, by the way. It's hard to fathom the size of this debt. The poor is going to be an issue, but again, that is an issue in a small little microcosm. The one thing that this bill is going to do, and why if you hold stocks and if you hold risk on assets such as crypto, altcoins, and things like that, is it's stated within this document that I've just shown you. Yeah, all of these cuts are happening. But taxpayers earning over $1 million are going to be getting a massive tax cut. This 3% is arbitrary. If you're earning $300 million, 3% is a massive amount of a tax cut. In fact, it's more than that once you start factoring all the other aspects that they're bringing into the bill. Now you ask me, Alvarez, so why is this such a good thing for stocks and risk on assets and everything on that level? It's because what the wealthy do with their money. They're not stupid. they don't hold it in fiat. They don't hold it in cash because cash is being devalued as time goes by. Every year, the value of the dollar is less. Why hold it in a depreciating asset? What they do is they put it into bonds, they put it into equities, they put it into stock, they put it into property, they put it into anything other than cash. And when the rate cut happens, and I've done a previous video, you should go and watch that. When the rate cut happens, these type of money markets and various other assets are not going to be worth a lot to put money into. They're going to be looking at two key areas. Once this bill really comes into fruition, he's going to be signing it today, and rate cuts happen, and this wealthy class are going to have excess cash liquidity to put into the market. They're going to be putting it into the SPX, the S&P 500, which is the 500 of the most wealthiest, most profitable companies in the USA. Hence the reason why this thing is starting to go up. And if it breaks this line, it's going to go to astronomical levels. And secondly, it's going to go into Bitcoin. Bitcoin at this present moment, on an annualized basis, brings back 50% on average. There is nothing like that that's working. The government is regulating towards it. And when the stablecoin bill comes in, and this wealthy class has a huge amount of excess money, they're going to be putting into stables, they're going to be putting into to cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and most probably, eventually, altcoins. This massive cup and handle formation that's building, in line with the market analysis, in line with the bill, in line with tax cuts, in line with interest rate cuts, everything else, everything is building up to an explosion in this, an explosion in this, and an explosion in altcoins. So the big beautiful bill is terrible for some and amazing for others. But in the long run, this thing is going to be a real problem. The debt is a real problem. So we might see a spike, but eventually this monster is going to bite back. And when it does, you have to be prepared. And if you want to be prepared, check out this video, follow me, press the like button, and I want to hear your thoughts. Catch you guys later.